Horror Show originated as a Broadway musical stage production in 1973, written and created by Richard O'Brien himself, parodying and paying tribute to many science fiction and horror B-movies of the 1940s through to the 70s. O'Brien was an unemployed actor at the time, living in London, and he only wrote the story because he had nothing else to do. No, seriously, he wrote the Rocky Horror Show because he had nothing else to do. This worldwide phenomenon that has swept this entire planet. The longest and most consistently running release in movie history. This huge cult classic that is one of the most beloved films of all time was written because Richard O'Brien was bored and had nothing else to do. The writer loved sci-fi and B-movie horrors, so he wanted to combine elements of the unintentional humor of them into one, including rock and roll, pretentious dialogue, his words, and Steve Reeves' muscle flicks. The movie shows Brad and Janet, played by, at the time unheard of and real-life dating, Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon, at a friend's wedding. Brad soon proposes, and then their car breaks down outside of a creepy-ass house, but the creeps don't end there.
Hello.
Are you the ones who ripped off Dark City in The Matrix? They then bear witness to some of the craziest collection of characters that you will ever see in any movie ever, including movie debuting Tim Curry as Frankenfurter, a flamboyant and crazed transvestite. I really just said that. They're then basically kidnapped as Curry creates a Frankenstein-like monster who's just basically a bodybuilder called Rocky and some gold boxers. Wait, Rocky boxers? Yeah, no connection. The actor, by the way, couldn't sing and was actually lip-syncing. Random fact for you. Frankenfurter forces Brad and Janet to both perform unfaithful acts. Rape. He rapes them. Cult classic. Before their old teacher, Dr. Scott, shows up. The characters from the planet What the Fuck Was O'Brien Smoking When He Wrote This subtly reveal that they're aliens, and Dr. Scott has been studying UFOs and is close to exposing them. Frankenfurter is under the impression that Brad and Janet are helping him and turns everyone into stone. Soon he puts on a stage show with an empty crowd, just like an ICP concert, before everyone turns into transvestites. Except for Janet. She's already a woman, so not really. And Riff Raff, played by Richard O'Brien, bursts in and is basically sick of Frank's shit, growing jealous of Rocky's attention and ends up killing him. The humans escape before the house does something that my YouTube channel can never seem to do, and takes off. There's also a lot of other batshit insane stuff that goes on, but that's just the main vital crap that you really need to know. Before production even began, O'Brien showed a snippet of the unfinished script to director Jim Sharman, who opted to shoot it in a small experimental space upstairs of the Royal Court Theatre in London. They gathered up a team of costume designers and musical directors before beginning production on October 21st, 1974. The stage show had even made it over to the United States in 1974, starting in Los Angeles before spanning to New York and other venues across the country, leading to O'Brien purchasing the US theatrical rights. Filming took place at Bray Studios and Oakley Court in Berkshire, England, and at Elstree Studios later on, wrapping up on December 19th, 1974. A lot of the film took place in Oakley Court, a Victorian Gothic-style country house often used for Hammer films, and despite the location being in poor condition at the time, filming went ahead anyway. The studio insisted on casting American actors for Brad and Janet, specifically choosing the one starring in the final film, despite Steve Martin himself auditioning. For Brad, not Janet.
Damn it, Janet.
Shooting during October also caused problems, as Susan Sarandon even caught pneumonia at one point. The set itself had no heating and no bathroom, and when Susan informed the producers, they claimed that she was complaining too much, which is when she felt ill. Richard O'Brien claimed that she was shaking with an extreme fever and should have been under medical supervision, but she refused to stop working. To its credit, the movie maintains many aspects of the stage show, but also adds extra material to it as well. In the original production, the actors tended to do their own makeup, but the movie brought in Pierre LaRoche, who had previously been a makeup artist for Mick Jagger himself, to work on the picture. Ironically, Jagger even showed interest in playing Frank in the movie, and Jonathan Kramer even came close to getting the part. Sue Blaine was responsible for the costume designs and wasn't too keen on getting on board until she was informed that her old friend Tim Curry was committed, and she instantly became interested. They previously had worked together in a stage production called The Maids, in which Curry also cross-dressed. Blaine had admitted that she had never seen a sci-fi movie before, so the costumes were ignorant generalizations. The movie's budget for the outfits was a mere $1,600, which was actually a lot more than the stage show. After the film was a huge success and fans began making their own designs of the costumes, Blaine was blown away. At first, she was concerned that they may be tacky, but was very impressed by the creative ideas. Huge Rocky Horror fan Mina Credor, who has designed the costumes personally, claimed, "The best part is when everyone leaves with a big smile on their face. There's such a kitschiness and campiness that it seems to be winking at you." Originally, the opening sequence was supposed to feature movie footage in regards to whatever film the disembodied lips were singing about, but it proved to be far too expensive, and the arse-numbingly long sequence was just focused on the mouth. The movie, though it originally flopped, became an insane success, catapulting its name into into the history books for musical pictures. The film's soundtrack album peaked at 49th on the Billboard 200 in 1978 and also reached number 40 on the Australian Albums Chart and number 11 on New Zealand's. The movie was released in London on August 14th, 1975 and then in the States on September 26th. It did well in the first location of Los Angeles, but nowhere else. It was originally withdrawn from its 8 opening cities due to very small audiences, and its planned opening on Halloween night in New York City was cancelled. The studio re-released the movie around college campuses along with another rock music film parody, Phantom of the Paradise, but again did very poorly. After 1972's Pink Flamingos and 1936's Reefer Madness becoming successful off of midnight showings, Tim Deegan from 20th Century Fox managed to talk distributors into trying out the same approach on April Fool's Day 1976 in New York City. The world phenomenon that is the Rocky Horror Picture Show's cult following soon began shortly after, with fans showing up to screenings in costumes and singing along to the lyrics. The movie has never again been pulled from a screening and has been played every year to this day since its original release, becoming the longest running release in film history and the longest running stage production of all time. After it came out, Roger Ebert claimed when the Rocky Horror Picture Show was first released, it was ignored by pretty much everyone, including the future fanatics who would eventually count the hundreds of times they'd seen it. It's more of a long-running social phenomenon than a movie. He rated the film 2.5 out of 4 stars. Bill Henkin from Variety thought the campy hijinks of the film seemed laboured, and John Wasserman from the San Francisco Chronicle loved the stage play but found the film lacking both charm and dramatic impact. Newsweek called the film tasteless, plotless, and pointless. Rotten Tomatoes rates it 80% out of 41 reviews, and many critics find it compelling and enjoyable because of its offbeat and bizarre qualities. The BBC claimed for those willing to experiment with something a little bit different, a little bit outre, the Rocky Horror Picture Show has a lot to offer. The New York Times called it a low-budget freak show cult classic cultural institution and considered the songs to be very catchy. Jeff Andrew from Time Out claimed the string of hummable songs gives it momentum, Gray's admirably straight-faced narrator holds it together, and a run on black lingerie takes care of almost everything else. Dave Kerr of Chicago Reader, on the other hand, considered the wit to be too weak to sustain a film and thought that the songs all sound the same. Over the years, the movie has been a revolutionary and historical piece, being referenced or parodied in many TV shows or movies, many conventions or get-togethers of Honor the Picture, and it's easily one of the most impactful movies of all time, but not without some controversy in the mix. The film was actually banned in South Africa a few weeks after release by the Board of Censors, but not before it had been seen by 250,000 people and even gaining a following there as well. In 1981, Sharman and O'Brien reunited for Shock Treatment, a sort of sequel. I mean, Brad and Janet are there, played by different actors. O'Brien and Patricia Quinn are there, playing different characters. I don't know, it's confusing. The movie gained a cult following as well, but nowhere near as successful as the original. It wasn't until around a decade later, O'Brien actually wrote a screenplay intended as a direct sequel to the first movie called Revenge of the Old Queen. I don't think it's that one. Producer Michael White hoped to begin work on it, claiming it was in the same style as the first one and has reflections of the past in it. The script was never published, but bootleg copies can be found online. The screenplay is currently owned by 20th Century Fox, who produced the first two, and it's unlikely that it will ever get made. In 2014, O'Brien announced that Shock Treatment would also become a stage production. On April the 10th, 2015, a reimagining of the first film was announced called the Rocky Horror Picture Show Let's Do the Time Warp Again. Curry was to have a cameo, and the film premiered on October the 20th, 2016. And now the part that you've all been waiting for. What I personally think of it. Now, I took a look at this film 6 years ago. I was 19 and it was back when I didn't really understand movies. I was immature, unprofessional, ignorant, and really had no idea about the art of filmmaking whatsoever. Naturally, I slated the entire picture and received mostly negative feedback. I received death threats, hate comments, nasty things were yelled at me on the streets, bricks were hurled through my windows at my head, and I lost mass amounts of sleep because of it. 6 years later, and I took another look at this historical piece of cinema. I just had to know what makes this one of the 1001 movies you must see before you die. I had to give this another chance. I had to take in all of the dozens of comments explaining the movie to me. I had to see what they saw. I had to understand the fame this picture has gained over the years. Maybe I was missing something. Maybe if I watched it again, I'd like it a bit more. Maybe I just needed to open my mind. Maybe it was just as clever as everyone had previously tried to explain to me. Maybe I was wrong. Nah, it's still crap, but at least now I can explain my points a lot better and also give the film credit for what it does deserve. Before everybody dislikes this video and leaves negative comments, if they haven't already done that, I think it's fair to start off by going over the things that I do like. I mean, Sarandon and Bostwick are a bit shit at times, but O'Brien and Curry are fantastic, as is Meatloaf. Yes, Meatloaf is in this, although their first choice was actually Elvis Presley. And Elvis wanted to do it, but I don't know, for some reason they had to settle for the much more talented Meatloaf. Oh dear. And the supporting cast are all very good as well. The sets are actually really well made and set the tone for the entire film. The costumes are very memorable, and I mean very memorable. This song is the only one I actually really like, but it is well written and well performed. The filmmakers had actually asked Susan Sarandon to appear naked for the sequence, but she refused.
Party pooper.
When O'Brien bursts in to announce he's taking over and killing Frank, it is so badass, and that portion of the song is incredible, and it truly is an amazing moment. Too bad the rest of the song ruins it.
Damn it.
All in all, I think it's a poorly made film, which I will explain more in a second, but to its credit, it became a worldwide phenomenon that has engulfed fans across the globe. If you, like myself, dislike the film, you can never deny its impact, and that's something I definitely respect. The worst thing that a movie can be is boring, and this movie is definitely not boring. It sticks in your head and you can never erase it. Trust me, I've tried. It does have some bizarre and strange charm to it that makes you remember it for years to come, but I still feel like it's a poorly made feature film. Why? Well, first of all, just to get it out of the way, Brokeback Mountain, amazing film, and we'll get to that. I Love You, Philip Morris, one of my favourite movies of all time. I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, great picture as well. It's a sad state of affair when I have to clarify all of that, because otherwise, if you say you don't like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you are immediately perceived as a homophobe. But if you need even more confirmation, Liam Green, who starred in my movie, homosexual. My ex-wife, bisexual. Hayden, who appeared in a few of my videos, homosexual, and here's a clip of me pretending to go down on him. This is my own homosexual character in my videos, being camped towards other real-life heterosexuals. It's like the equivalent of the new Ghostbusters. Don't like it? You're sexist. Don't like the Rocky Horror Picture Show? You're a homophobe.
Stop upsetting my mates. They're trying their best to be homophobic over here.
I will defend it to an extent though. The few people I've met who also dislike the film have claimed that it has no plot. As much as I don't like the movie, it does. It's very, very minimal, but it's there and I've already explained it. There's a whole lot of batshit insane visuals wrapped around a loose story, but it is there. My issue lies with the fact that it's supposed to be a comedy. It's listed everywhere as a parody and a comedy, but I just failed to see the humor. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is funny.
Janet.
Dr. Scott!
Janet.
Brad!
Rook. Janet.
Dr. Scott!
Janet.
Brad!
Rook. Janet.
Dr. Scott!
Janet.
Brad!
Rook.
I get that, but the rest, it just seems to bank on weird visuals automatically being funny on their own, and it's just not the case. I did my first review of this 6 years ago, and I always got back, you just don't get it. Yes, you're right, I don't. And I did this review 6 years ago, and still to this day, no one, fans of the film, haters of the film, can explain to me the humor. I get that it's a parody of B-movies, I get that part, but in order to make a parody, you also need to insert genuine jokes as well. Airplane, Hot Shots, Spaceballs, Not Another Teen Movie, Scary Movie, even Date Movie. Sometimes they weren't funny, but at least there were actual jokes in there. This is just a movie that solely depends on edgy visuals with no additional humor. Just look how graphic and daring we are, laugh at us!
It's not funny, it's not funny, it's not funny, it's not funny, it's not funny! It's not funny!
It's the equivalent of when comedies use a little person for a joke, but the only joke is, look how small they are. There's nothing else, just let's laugh at this person who's little. It's lazy writing. I've heard that this was also supposed to defend transsexuals from being judged, never judge a book by its cover and all that jazz. But how is this supposed to defend them? By making them look like crazy, sexually obsessed rapists? By making them look like the most ridiculous and insane aliens around? It's meant to have people take them more seriously? Yeah, why not make them evil Martians? They're the villains here, and they're treated as the outcasts. I don't understand how, in any way, they are supposed to be promoted as something positive in this. Furthermore, why are they even described as transsexuals in this film? Do the movie's writers, or even the fans, not know the difference between a transvestite and a transsexual? No? Well, here's a lesson. A transvestite is somebody who knows what gender they are, but prefers to dress as the opposite. Frank-N-Furter here is clearly dressed like a very kinky female. A transsexual, on the other hand, has a gender identity crisis. They feel like they are the wrong gender. They could be born a man, but feel like a woman trapped in the male body, or the other way around. Not at any point in this movie does Frank ever act like a woman or show any indication that he feels like one. Even when he rapes Brad, he is still acting masculine. He is still seducing him like a homosexual or bisexual man. A movie about transsexuality and it can't even differentiate two simple terms correctly. And this is an even bigger slap in the transsexual testicles in the remake because Frank is played by a transgender female. So you have a woman who was born as a man, dressed like a woman, playing a man who wants to be a woman. Isn't this just a big middle finger to transsexual men? Isn't it actually quite offensive? And because it's actually a woman, doesn't it take away the entire purpose of the character? Doesn't it take away the whole shock and joke of the character? I mean, talk about a movie that was doomed from the very beginning anyway. Seriously, just watch the first 10 seconds.
And I hate it already. 1 second in, gotta be a new record.
But to be fair, I shouldn't expect much more from a movie that literally warns the viewer right away to enter at their own risk. Even just this opening, the lyrics make no sense. I don't even know why I'm trying to analyze and intelligently decipher a movie this putrid. I mean, you could say the movie is supposed to be illogical, but wait a minute, the filmmakers did their very best to fill in Rocky's belly button because they knew that it would make no sense for Frank's creation to have one. Someone get them onto the Adam and Eve Bible bullshit, but if they're taking that into consideration for logic, they should be taking everything into consideration for logic like this. Just referencing famous sci-fi and horror B movies doesn't make it artsy, it makes it nonsensical. I watched Terminator 3, then I watched the movie Speed. I fucked Rocky, then I fucked Chucky. I like movies, I just had a poopy. Art. Now, I know that the Superman movies had long opening credits, but nobody can deny how fucking awesome they looked. Here, the credits go on for 5 whole minutes, and it's just a pair of lips. Even if they were vagina lips, I'd be bored. Wait, would I? The opening song may be catchy in the moment, but once you hear the other tracks, it just vanishes into nothingness. Look, even Tim Curry and Richard O'Brien look bored. I just read reviews of Dungeons and Dragons. The narrator is also entirely pointless. No, seriously, he serves absolutely no purpose to anything here. The film plays, then we get Captain Big Chin pretty much tell us what just happened or what is about to happen. Cut all of his scenes out and the movie wouldn't even be feature length. I honestly have no idea why he's here, although he does have the ability to make absolutely shitty dialogue sound quite badass.
It was a night out they were going to remember for a very long time.
I just really shit my pants. Vincent Price really wanted to play this role as he loved it in the stage production. He was actually offered it, but he had to turn it down due to scheduling conflicts, but I feel like maybe he could have saved it. Nah, I doubt it. The guy wasn't bad, he's just pointless. Oh look, the car tires are flat, just like the acting.
What was the bang?
I think it's my career dying after Thelma and Louise in 1 episode of Friends.
Fred, I'm frightened.
My casting agent's trying to kill me.
You're lucky. He's lucky. I'm lucky. We're all lucky.
Honey, nobody is lucky in this film.
Oh, Fred!
It's all right, Janet.
You're actually going to be famous after this.
I thought it was the real thing.
I thought I was really acting.
Just what exactly are you implying? It's all right.
I'm acting.
I'm acting.
Shut up!
So I feel like I need to talk about this goddamn song. Easily the most famous, most beloved, most catchy, the goddamn Time Warp. Now I get the hype. It is very catchy and it imprints itself into your cranium for an eternity, but without looking them up, when you first listen to them, can you actually understand the lyrics? I'm going to be putting blue text on the screen. These will be me attempting to guess what they're actually saying before I look them up. Underneath will be white text, which will be the 100% correct lyrics after I've looked them up. And you will see just how difficult it is to decipher.
It's just a jump to the left. With your hands on your hips.
What did they record with? A potato?
Well, I was walking down the street just to having a scene when a stinking big guy gave me a chicken wing. He shook me up, he took me by surprise. He had a big-ass track and the devil's eyes. He stared at me and I felt ashamed. I meant nothing, never would again.
How is it this difficult to decipher? How can you enjoy a song when you can't even understand the lyrics? Yeah, here I am, do you even give a damn? Furthermore, a common misconception, just because a song is catchy doesn't automatically make it good. Remember Friday by Rebecca Black that everybody hated, or Whip My Hair by Willow Smith? They were catchier than crabs and we all hated them.
Damn it.
The music throughout is lazy because very often they just run out of material and reuse the same lyrics over and over again. Even at the end, they just go back and redo the fucking time warp for no reason. Logically, it makes no sense. As explained, I'm all for these types of films. It is edgy, it is unique, but it has such a negative feel to it. I feel uncomfortable and awkward watching it. I feel like I need to go to a confessional booth just to confess my sins that I did indeed watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm a goddamn atheist who just used the Lord's name in vain, and the movie is so bad it's making me want to convert to him to help me through this stinker.
Woe is me! My life is a misery!
He's only just been born and he already wants to die. What does that tell you? Weirdly, Frank even starts to sing about Rocky's goddamn diet and exercises. A lot of these songs just blurt out random nonsense. Is it part of the parody? Because like I said, you need to also write jokes. I'm going to the shop, I'm gonna get beans. I'm gonna find a girl in some tight jeans. I'm gonna have a sandwich and then play Sonic. I hate this movie, if I'm being honest. Art. Meatloaf shows up and he too sings about random shit that connects to nothing. There's a chair, it isn't fair. Went to a fun fair, met a girl called Claire. We had sex on top of some stairs. She laughed when I showed her my pubic hair. The movie was so bad, Meatloaf refused to sing in a film again for another 31 years until The Pick of Destiny. A lot of these scenes also just drag on way too long. When making a film, each scene has a purpose, a reason to exist, and the purpose of these sequences are very easily summarized. There's no need to drag them out for as long as they do. For a film that has a 5-minute opening credit sequence, it's amazing that they still feel the need to pad out as many scenes as possible for that running time as much as they do. The final song, Frank just constantly sings about going home, then flaunts around a bit more. O'Brien just standing there instead of killing him as promised. Just end the goddamn thing. And why should we even feel bad about Frank dying? It's set up as this big emotional moment, but he was a massive rabbit fucker for the whole movie, so why should we care? Another thing I don't get, throughout the film, they just constantly break the fourth wall. Is this a joke I'm not getting? I genuinely don't get what, because it was a stage play? That still doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Oh, if only we hadn't made this journey.
See, even she's regretting it on a movie resume. So Janet discovers that Brad cheated with Frank and gets upset, despite her doing the same 20 seconds ago, and then decides to cheat again with Rocky, despite him being outside 20 seconds ago.
The intruder is entering the building, Master.
Not really an intruder if he was let in.
Great Scott!
Get it? Do you get it? Because his name is Scott? Great Scott? Do you get it? Is this supposed to be funny? I don't get it.
From the day she was gone.
What's going on? Now here, it looks like it is supposed to be funny. It's pretty bad when you're a comedy and the viewer's trying to figure out which parts are supposed to be funny and which parts aren't. But the problem is, it's so painfully unfunny. It's like that time when your dad is making awful jokes at the barbecue and he thinks they're really funny. Only there, at least you can laugh at how awful they are. Here, I don't even get what the joke is. He's dancing funny, they're singing fun. What is it?
You're essential as a pencil.
What?
You're essential as a pencil.
What?
You're essential as a pencil.
As sensual as a pencil. As sensual as a pencil. These are the cult classical lyrics that everyone's praising worldwide. Sensual as a fucking pencil. That's on par with...
Let's green egg and ham it.
No, actually, it's on par with...
You want to quit, but you can't. You worked at this plant so long. You're a plant.
No, wait. This is on par with...
Fucking magnets. How do they work?
Yes.
It's not easy having a good time
I wouldn't know. Oh look, the Eiffel Tower. I've never quite wanted France to receive a terrorist attack so badly before. These special effects look like the director of Spawn snuck into the studio, overdosed on heroin syringes before smoking a line of coke with Robert Downey Jr. and hijacking Richard O'Brien's editing controls.
Damn it.
God! You killed them.
But I thought you liked them.
You helped him kill him!
They like you.
They didn't like me!
What the fuck? That was a bit out of nowhere.
You're jealous!
I'm sorry about your nephew.
Eddie?
Just in case the audience forgot who he was. It was that memorable. Even after the goddamn house flies away, they continue fucking singing. Just end our pain. Everything has been resolved. Now leave me alone. What more do you want from me? It was highly rumored that Tim Curry himself was even unhappy with the movie, some even saying that he completely hated it. However, I've extensively searched the internet and I can't find any sources to back these claims up whatsoever. As much as I'd like to believe that he too hated this crap, it doesn't seem true. However, the rumors probably stemmed from the fact that Tim had refused to talk about the feature for years. This was apparently not due to his dislike for the movie, but more so because he had some bad memories of harassment from his more rabid fans. Also, if he hated it so much, why is he in the remake? However, Susan Sarandon refuses to talk about the film as well. Not because she hates it or anything, but because she is furious at the fact that none of the cast members get royalties from the DVD sales. Wow, Rocky Horror sounds a lot like Chandler Lawson.
Damn it.
And guess what? Peter Hinwood, who played Rocky, though he quickly retired from acting and currently runs an antique shop in London, also doesn't talk about the film. He claims that he is rather embarrassed by it. There was a rumour for a while that he used to throw people out of his shop for talking about it, but he soon shrugged that off as false. He has, however, stated that the movie is purely a part of the past and he would rather not talk about it. So would we, Peter. So would we. Although 3 actors who refused to talk about the movie. Coincidence? I think not. The drama seemed to be evident during production also, as Richard O'Brien has confessed that he did not get along well with Tim Curry at the time. He was jealous of his looks and the fact that he had all of the good lines. But you wrote the script! However, I will happily go on record and state that Shock Treatment is far worse. For such a minimal plot that Rocky Horror had, Shock Treatment has even less. Rocky Horror had bizarre visuals and batshit insane antics to get you through. Shock Treatment was just a boring snooze fest that made the viewer lose interest. I mean, it tried desperately, and I mean desperately, to recapture the charm of the first film, but miserably failed. I can see the appeal in the first movie, I really can, and I can admit the charm involved, but this one is just a blank sheet of paper with horrific performances, annoying characters, and look, Rick Mayall is in it. One of my favourite comedians of all time is involved in this. It may sound crude to say now, rest in peace, but he genuinely looks like he wants to die here. Everyone is putting forth so much effort and he just can't be bothered. He's half-assing it completely and totally doesn't care. He knew it was arse. He doesn't care, so why should we? The bottom line is, the Rocky Horror Picture Show does its job. Millions of people around the world love it. They put on the costumes, they have the props, they sing along to the words, they have a good time and they love it. And that's great. So I personally disagree. I don't really like this movie. I hate it. You guys like it. That's fine. Go ahead and enjoy your movie. I personally disagree. That's my opinion on the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Shock Treatment.